What's up guys, Matt back again, and this is the Ichiban Kuji Super Dragon Ball Heroes 5th mission. And in today's video, we're going to be reviewing the entire set.
Before we dive into the video, please remember to subscribe and hit the bell, like the video, comment your thoughts down below for us to discuss, follow me on my socials, and consider becoming a YouTube member to enter into our monthly giveaways and Discord server so our community can help you on your Dragon Ball figure collecting journey.
This Kuji begins with one of the sickest Dragon Ball Heroes figures of all time, the Crimson Masked Saiyan aka Goku Black in his full power Super Saiyan Rosé form. It's a very interesting take on Rosé as it looks just like Super Saiyan 3, but the user grows a tail and has eyebrows. They also get so swole that their shirts rip off, which is pretty metal. Goku Black is based on his Super Dragon Ball Heroes card of the form. His likeness is fantastic. It was hard to judge the previous two Crimson Masked Saiyan figures on their likeness because their masks were still on. But here, the character has nearly his entire face revealed and it looks subarashi. It's a sinister expression with the pride of knowing just how strong he is. The hair sculpt on this figure is insane. It's completely detailed and textured with all of the spiked ends spiraling outward. The legs are definitely recycling the lower body of the previous two Crimson Masked Saiyans, but it's not quite so bad since it's only the lower body. They also fixed the previous Super Saiyan 3 sculpt that needed a support for its hair. This one just has its regular support on its foot and it balances just fine. I also love the look of his ripped shirt hanging over his waist and of course his detailed Saiyan tail. The figure has some awesome uses of paint and shading, mostly seen in his hair with mixtures of pinks and whites. There's also shading on his skin that you can see mostly in between the muscles. The figure is perfectly sized too and will pair just fine with all of your other mass release figures. This Goku Black is fantastic and comes close to being my favorite next to the Koko ni Kiwamariri version. He's so unique and even if you don't like Dragon Ball Heroes, I'd still recommend checking him out. You won't be disappointed. Up next, we have our obligatory Goku figure to fill out a Kuji. All jokes aside, I do have a soft spot for this Goku. The figure may seem to be his regular blue form, but it's actually another exclusive form from the card game and anime where Goku absorbs the power of the universe tree. The figure seems loosely based on the card of the character and form, but his arms are posed a little differently. I assume this happened because this figure reuses the sculpt of the Ultra Instinct Goku from Koko ni Kiwamariri and Battle of Worlds Kuji sets. The biggest change comes in his head sculpt and shoes. Now, I've never been a big fan of this sculpt for the first two Kuji, but they did alter it slightly to improve upon these issues. Goku doesn't look as slim, and they leveled his shoulders out better to make them look larger. I think that's a fair exchange for bringing back the sculpt in this case. Goku's likeness is nearly perfect, but I do feel like something is a bit off in his face. I believe it's something with his mouth with how it's shaped. It also feels as though his chin is too low, so it can be a little hard to see his face at times. But these are all admittedly nitpicks. He still looks pretty good in the face regardless. The figure is very unique in its approach to paint and shading. He's got traditional paint and shading applied to his skin, but his pants, shoes, and hair all have a glossy finish to them. This is to emulate the amount of bloom the form has in the anime. I think this makes the figure look pretty unique and stands out from the other blue Goku figures. I also love the color of blue they picked for his hair as it's more of a deep royal blue instead of lighter turquoise colors. Of course, this figure is a good size and it pairs perfectly with all other mass release figures. I can see some of the small issues this figure has and of course we'll agree that it's the low point of this set. However, I think he's still a fun release and a pretty cool Goku to own. Next up, we have another character from a previous Kuji, but now with a new form, the Warrior in Black, aka Bardock. Bardock is a fan favorite character, so whether he's this non-canon but fun form or not, he's still fun to see. You'll start to see a pattern in a majority of this Kuji where Bandai took previously released characters and sculpts, adds a few differences here and there, and deliver really fun and unique figures. This is truly what Super Dragon Ball Heroes should be all about. This Bardock's likeness is perfect. Just like the Masked Saiyan, its previous figure had a somewhat hidden likeness, so it was harder to appreciate its details in the face. This Bardock looks incredible with that signature Super Saiyan 3 look in his eyes. The sculpt is fantastic. I love his hair, and I really feel like when Super Saiyan 3 hair is done right, it becomes the best of the best. I will make note that his lower body is definitely recycling the legs from the previous year's Warrior in Black figure, but since this one ditches his cloak and looks so much different, it's almost like it's a brand new sculpt. The paint and shading in this thing are awesome. Just like the others, his hair is a standout. It's got loads of yellows and whites mixed together that really pop out when you look at the hair tips. You can also see shading on his skin and even on his pants. The figure scales well with other Mass Release figures, just as you'd expect. He pairs really well with the previous Warrior in Black too. This is definitely my favorite Bardock figure they've released so far. We finally have a Z Bardock coming in Omnibus Ultimate later this year, so he's got some big competition because we have this amazing figure already. The last time we saw Broly within Ichiban Kuji was in 2022's History of the Film Kuji. We weren't sure if we'd ever see a Broly figure again, as Bandai oversaturated the market with so many King clusters of him. Lo and behold, Bandai's decision to not only end the year with a Broly figure in 2023, but making him a Super Saiyan 3. Super Saiyan 3 Broly is such a rare sight to see. The last time I saw him was in Dragon Ball Raging Blast as a playable character. Maybe Bandai will give us Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta one day. The figure is also recycling a majority of its sculpts from the best Broly figure from Omnibus Z. That's an amazing sculpt, so I don't really mind them reusing it to make this monster. Broly's likeness is slightly different to the Omnibus Z's. The big difference being that his mouth is open and he has no eyebrows. They're pretty identical otherwise. Broly's hair is crazy huge, which adds to his crazy weight. It almost feels like there's another figure attached to Broly because of how big and intricate his hair is. It even needs a support to be held up. The paint of the figure is pretty sweet. His greens and whites mixed into his hair are extraordinary, and his lower body does seem to have a slightly different color than the original from Omnibus Z. He still has shading on his skin and clothes, while having metallic and glossy finishes to his boots and cuffs. The figure is clearly huge, and as I mentioned earlier, he weighs like 5 pounds. He's definitely one of the biggest figures in my collection. He scales perfectly with other Brolys and Master Release figures. Speaking of which, I do want to point out as well that this Broly was labeled as a Master Release instead of a King Cluster, even though it's recycling a King Cluster figure. I wonder if Bandai has abandoned that label just to market Master Release more. Whatever the case, I think this Broly is amazing and a strong contender for one of the best figures in this set.
ロゼ。そう。スーパーサイヤ人ロゼ。
This Kuji wraps things up with a choice I can't help but love. It's an alternate version of the Crimson Masked Saiyan. I can see some argue that this is a lazy choice, but this figure at the very least matches the source much better by including the bursting flame on his face. It's a small change that admittedly doesn't make the last one prize as special as it should be, but I love this figure so much that I really don't care. If you're new to the channel, I rank this figure as the best of 2023 last year. I don't think a lot of people saw that coming, but he really did blow me away with how awesome of a sculpt he had. I think even if you're not a huge fan of Dragon Ball Heroes, this figure and really the rest of this set has plenty of cool, unique looking characters that would look so cool on a display. I think people who may have written it off for that reason in the past should reconsider and check out just how amazing this Kuji and this figure are. So those are my thoughts on Ichiban Kuji, Super Dragon Ball Heroes 5th mission. It's not a secret that I think this is the best Super Dragon Ball Heroes Kuji of all time. They really had a lot of fun with this, and I'm a sucker for Super Saiyan 3, so to see so many of them in the set, it's just mwah, chef's kiss. But those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you made it this far in the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you want to go even further beyond in supporting the channel, you can become a YouTube member today starting at $3. Then you get access to our growing Discord community of awesome Dragon Ball collectors and fans just like you, where we talk, do buy, sell, trade, we do games, we do watch parties, lots of cool stuff. And if you want to take part in our regular monthly giveaway in our $10, $15, and $20 YouTube member tier, you can get entered to win a Crane figure, an Ichiban Kuji figure, or even an entire Ichiban Kuji set. But I think that's all I've got for you guys today, so until the next video, I will see you all later.